Saturday, right? Yes, and I'm in the process of preparing. So this morning I will do a little bit of work-related stuff. I am preparing or reviewing rather my own notes that are scattered all over the place in regard of testing in JavaScript. I want to prepare a few lectures or a few talks or demos or workshops or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to be focusing on that, writing a little bit of code, perhaps writing a little bit of presentation materials if needed. And then we're also going to, hopefully, if Lucas wakes up and joins me, it is a weekend after all, so people they want to I don't know, sleep in, I guess. So if he joins me, then we will look into the digital ATM challenge, which is basically a ATM simulator that we build in React as as a challenge for some students or in a workshop that we sometimes host in Agile Ventures or whatever. And it's a challenge where we basically want them to fix a broken piece of software. So that's interesting, and we just kind of wrote that challenge. We just want to make sure that all the code examples and everything else is working. Uh, right. Let's see if we can get some music into our ears, like this, and then we will go over to my screen and start thinking about the testing um, testing issues. But I do hear that my coffee maker just made the beautiful sound that he, or is it a she? Is coffee maker a female or a male? I don't know. Anyway, my coffee maker has made the sound, and we want to get some coffee. So I'm gonna do that. We'll be back in just a sec. All right. Let's see if I can get some time for ourselves and work a little bit on the things we want to work on testing mainly. I hope that the music is soothing. It is Saturday morning. Let's get a little bit. Let's do what we love. Let's do what I love. Let's code a little bit. Guys, sometimes life is what it is. It's up and down. And I truly enjoy coding. I think it's the best. when I feel not at home, but at least calm, and I can do things the way I want to do them, and feel that I'm in control, and that I'm challenged, and it's a good hobby. Anyway, let's see into projects and demos. Or you know what? Let's not do that. Let's Ignore, another one that we call workshops. So that's where I'm going to place the materials to workshops that I can hold. Right. So we can create another one, and we can call it should we call it TDD or testing? Yeah, testing and testing primer. No, in JS. Testing JS. Right, and I will just create touch 01 intro.md. Right, and then mkdir source, and then let's see, tree. Oh, I don't have tree installed. Oh yeah, I switched computers. Damn it, I need to install tree. I like this command actually. Let's see if we can do it now. This is a working session. So I can do whatever I want, or whatever I must. Let's see. Right. There we go. Right. What am I doing? Yeah, I need to pull up a browser. That was what I was supposed to do. And Mac OS tree command. Now about the tree. Yes, that's what I want. Oh, brew install tree. Okay, thank you. See, I installed this like ages ago, and I like it. It's a Linux command that is kind of ported to Mac OS, but I think it's really useful. So now I can do this, and I can get a semi-graphical representation of my folders. So that's nice. Okie dokie. So brew install tree if you want this on your own machines. Okay, let's see. We wanted to get into some testing. Right. So I set this up as so just a few like a week ago or so I did a workshop on building a piece of software, very simple one, and I did it both in Ruby first on one kind of screen or part of the screen, and in JavaScript. It's pretty much the same thing. That was pretty cool, but I don't know if that is a good approach to showing people testing, because not everybody does Ruby. Anyway, here we are. I don't know if let's just open up this in code. I'm just gonna think about. Actually, you know, what we want to have is a folder that is called documentation, and another one that is called implementation. So yeah, so I'm gonna just rename this one, or can we call it examples? No, let's call it implementation. Right, so I'm just gonna move this here, and I'm gonna just create a readme file just so I have one. Right, and then introduction to testing. Right, so we can close this one and this one. We're just gonna call introduction, and then I'm gonna do create a Git Ignore. Let's see, do I want to Git Ignore this? Do I want to have a Git? Yeah, I want to Git Ignore here, because I'm gonna initiate a Git Ignore. There we go. Right, and I'm gonna do what? What do I want to ignore here? So I want some implementation code, right? So we want to. Okay, let's not dwell on that now. Let's open up a terminal. And by the way, yeah, I can see now that I'm experimenting. I can see if I can create Git repositories or initiate Git repos directly in VS Code using this extension that I installed. Yes, I can. So I can initialize a Git repository like this. Interesting. But I could also file history, branches, remotes. No remotes. I can add a remote. Okay. But how can I create? I don't have. You know what? I should install this Git or this GitHub CLI now that I have a new computer. Yeah, let's do that. That could be interesting. What is it called? I think it's fairly new. I never got into using it. Natsak, hello. Good morning, or good night, or good evening, or good day. It depends, of course, where you are. Thank you for the follow as well. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look. Oh, there's a. Oh, sorry about that. Oof. Let's see if we can get into that. What was it? It's GitHub CLI or something. I think it's called GitHub CLI. Let's just try that. GitHub CLI. CLI, GitHub's official command line tool. Interesting. Let's have a look at that one. Because I think, if I'm not totally mistaken, is that with this CLI tool, you can create repos and stuff like that directly from your terminal. Let's have a look. GH is a GitHub on the command line. It brings pull request issues and other GitHub concepts to the terminal next to where you are already working with Git and your code. That sounds like a like a dream. Um, at least for some, like, people like us, people interested in technology and coding. That sounds like a dream. For normal people, I don't think that actually has any impact. I don't even think this sentence would mean anything to my wife. If I would go on and say to her, you know what, honey, I just got this fantastic tool. It's called GitHub CLI. It brings GitHub to the command line. Can you imagine? It brings pull requests, issues, and other GitHub concepts to the terminal, where I anyway spend most of my days. Isn't that amazing? She would just look at me like if I were a total moron, which is basically the way she looks at me all the time. No, kidding. But she would probably not understand this. I dare you guys to try this on any of your loved ones, to see if they are, if they will be impressed or not. I dare you. Just say this. Memorize this sentence and say it out loud and see what the reaction will be. Anyways, and let me know in the chat, in the comments below. I'm kidding. GitHub CLI is available for repositories hosted on GitHub.com. Yada yada. Installation. Let's see. Yes, thank you. You can install GitHub CLI using Brew, which is amazing. I think that the guys that created Brew, they said something. I think on the website you can see the missing package manager from iOS for iOS, and I couldn't agree more. Brew is cool, and I also like the naming. That they brew beer. Sometimes you see like small icons of beer and stuff like that. Anyway, let's install GH GitHub, I guess it says. Okay, all right. So how do I configure this? I probably need to configure this, right? I can't just start using it. For many years, Hub was the official Git. Okay, Git Ignore project. Well, okay. Yeah, I remember Hub. But get the manual. Okay, so I have to go to another website to see the manual. Okay. Right. GH-auth login to authenticate with your GitHub account. Git will respect tokens set using GitHub token. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I did set up SSH keys on my GitHub account. Let's see if that works. So we just do. First of all, let's just see if we have GH, if it works. Yes, it does, because I get like some instructions. Help secret manages SSH key. So okay, all right. Let's see. Create command shortcut. Make an authenticate GitHub API request auth. Okay, so let's do GH auth login. And what could you possibly ask for me? Oh, that's for the enterprise server. Then I would have to pass in some sort of URL, I guess, or something. Let's just try to run this and see what's up. Okay, so he's asking me. I don't know if you guys can see this. It might be a bit small, so I'm gonna make it bigger. I'm an old guy, so I don't see that good. Right. What account do you want to log into? Well, I want to log into my github.com account. And I want to use SSH because it's the most convenient method as far as I'm concerned. Am I wrong? If anyone has any opinions, feel free to speak up. Woser, thank you for the follow. Good morning. Nice to see you. Well, I don't really see you. You know what I mean? I mean, Nice to have you around. Yeah. Okay. SSH. Users, Thomas Hochman, yes, that's it. Right. Log in with a web browser. Paste an authentication. I'm gonna log in with a browser. Press enter. Okay. Right, so there's a two-factor authentication. Thank you. Let's see. Nothing on my phone. Okay. What are you? Okay. What the fuck? Well. Oh, that's the code. Oh shit! I'm so stupid. Yeah, I should probably read the output on my screen, right? This is nothing dangerous, so I can do this. I was like, oh, this is two-factor, so I need to check my phone. There was nothing on my phone. The code is right on the screen. It's D E7 ADF3, and don't even bother trying to copy this because it's a one-time code, as they said. We're gonna trust them on this one. Actually, I had a very weird experience with Apple two-factor authentication. The two-factor actually displayed the code on the same device that I was trying to log in from. You know, I was on the Apple website. And actually, I have a screenshot of that. I was on the Apple's website trying to log in to the developer, you know, part of the system, and it asked me for two-factor, and it displayed the code on the same machine, just on the same screen actually, as it happened. So the entire purpose of two-factor is that you actually use at least two devices or two sources. Not in that case, people. They thought it was a good idea. Yes, so I have to. I just have to authorize this to use my account. Nothing secret here. Just good for anyone that is interested in this to see this at least once. Good stuff. Oh, now I need to type in my password. Right. Is that it? Is this my password? Oh, that's not my password. That's my password. And I develop things. I'm very grateful for your raid. Thank you very much for your generosity. You don't see my password. Where do you see my password? You don't see my password. Did you see my password? Did you see my password? Am I stupid? Where did you see my password? No, you didn't see my password. Jesus Christ. You gave me a heart attack. For God's sake, people. Oh, please. Okay. No, sip of coffee. Oh, God. I really, I've been up for half an hour and you scared the shit out of me. Oh, because you see, I might come across like I'm actually know what I'm doing, but it's not the case. Sometimes I do some weird and, stupid shit. Oh, you exposed my password. 1, 2, 3. That's what. No, but it really, oh gosh, you scared the shit out of me. That was a good start of the day and good start of the raid. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Okay, so we have this set up now. That's good. So let's see. What can I do? I wanted to set up. Please enter to continue, of course. First, please enter. Configure. All configured. Tachman. Yes. Boom. uploaded the SSH key to your, but we already did that, didn't we, at some point? But perhaps we have a special SSH key for this application. Anyway, right, so clear this shit up. Let's do git status. Right, I just need to git add everything, and well, Thomas, you should do this from VS Code. I told you, you love the terminal, but you should use the extension. Why should I? Why is that a requirement of mine? Can I do things by myself, or am I bound by some rules that I set up for myself? Let's follow the rules. What is it? State changes, right? Message. Okay. Adds basic folder structure. Right. Okay. That's okay. But I want to create a remote now. So I need to use this GH to create a repository on my GitHub account. And so let's pull up my GitHub here, and I have a few repos from before. Right, so let's see. Right, Thomas, focus. Okay, how can I create issue, not issue, out API, alias, issue, PR, release, repo. There we go. Create a repo. I want to create a repo. GH repo create, and then name. Okay, that wasn't that hard. That should be pretty straightforward. So let's go here. Repo create, and we want to say testing JS 101 or whatever. Testing JS 101. It's going to be a public. Yeah, why not? Right? Yes, please. Add an origin. Yes, please. Create a repository. Add a remote. So if I do git remote -v, yay. And here, what happened here? Can I see it? Yes, I can see it. It's an empty thing. So git push. Oh, I should have done it in VS Code, but okay. Origin and then master. And I was like, you know what? So should I? Yeah, it's all there now. Right. Okay. So I've heard somewhere, and I don't know if anybody in chat can actually confirm this, that that GitHub, they changed the master branch name from master to main for linguistic and socio-political kind of reasons that, you know, I don't anyway, but I don't see that, because when I create new repos on GitHub, it is still called master. But I've seen a few others that where the master branch or the main branch is actually not called master but main. If anyone knows anything about this in chat, you know, the ultimate infinite wisdom of internet population and Twitch users could perhaps enlighten me on this, that would be a nice thing. And we got another follow. We got actually multiple if you go back, it actually tells. If you go back, okay. If you go back, okay. What? Where? Git branch, and then, if you remember correctly, there's a git con. Oh, okay. Oh shit! My project command doesn't work. I'm not working on Pranzo. So I'm just fucking messing around. What can I do here? To the setup. You mean the setup of the to the setup of of my account, or no, the setup of the repo, right? Exactly. Yeah. So let's see. See, but the repo. Yeah, yeah. No, I know that now. Here I can change that from to this one, right? I can change that to main or whatever. But I was more like if there's a way to um, um, so that the every time I create a new repository, it doesn't use the master name. Like if we got that was my uh, Jesus, I have very hard time to articulate what the fuck I mean. Perhaps if I use more profanity, it will be better for me. Uh, right. So if when you set up the repo, it tells you to name it via Git branch. Yeah. Okay. All right. I will try that next time I create a new one. And for now, we're just gonna start. We're just gonna stick to this one. God damn it! I have hard time expressing what I want to say. The fuck is wrong with me? I probably need more coffee or something. Or something, right? Or something. Okay, what is it that we want to do? We want to get the fuck out of here, right? And we want to write tree. No, Thomas, go to VS Code. So here, I want to actually open up a new terminal. I love terminals, so I'm doing a cd into implementation, and here I'm gonna yarn init because I want to run some. When you run this, it also gives you a git command automatically to use main. Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah. Well, so I recently started to use the GUI interfaces in VS Code. That's why I keep reminding myself to go to VS Code and use the Git stuff. And what's the reason to use GUI for me? I don't know. I've always used the CLI, the terminal thing. But I think that I want to make fewer jumps between my IDE and the terminal that I use. Like I should probably be using the terminal inside of VS Code instead of constantly going over to this one. But I guess it's you can't all teach an old dog sit. Is that how they say? I'm an old guy, so habits are hard to break. But anyway, I know. I concur. I develop things. I totally agree. Okay. Oh, so you're using JetBrains products. Okay, cool. I used to do a lot of things in Ruby Mine. So I'm a Ruby developer by profession, not profession, but by nature, by birth, by tradition. I don't know. And I moved into I moved into web development pretty early, but JavaScript has become more of my main focus nowadays. But I've used JetBrains for Ruby, and I used it for Java back in the days. And there is this WebStorm, I think, that is kind of good from JetBrains. WebStorm, is it called WebStorm? I don't know. Right, let's see if we can. So we did init this now. Could I focus for a second? No, not init, for fuck's sake, ls. Right, we have package JSON, so we're just gonna do yarn add. We're gonna test a little bit. We're gonna test a little a few things. So we're gonna do yarn add mock as a dev dependency. We're gonna add Mocha, and we're gonna use Chai. That's the spirit, Thomas. Yes, we could in principle add sign-on as well, but we can hold off on that. So let's install these two things here. Right, and I can open up this in code. I can make this disappear. I will be running a few experiments. I won't be writing much of implementation, much documentation at this point, but we have Chai and we have Mocha. Anybody want to know what it is, or are you guys on board with what these libraries do? Should I explain them a little bit? I can do that, or I can not do that. It's all up to you folks, if you are interested in this. Let's see, where am I? I'm here. Right. Well, let's move this out of the way from here. And yes. So if you want to run our tests, so the setup is pretty simple. If we want to run our tests, so we're just gonna add a scripts folder, scripts section here. Right. So Jest is good to learn early, I would say. I develop things. I saw this. You're writing. I'm curious to see you use them. Been using Jest recently. Now Jest is good to learn as soon as possible. Mocha and Chai that I chose to work with today is very similar to Jest, of course. They all are. They're just different flavors. But Jest is used for React, of course. You can use Jest for Vue and many other frameworks or libraries. So that's really good. I was actually thinking about it this morning. Should I go Mocha Chai or should I go Jest? You know, but I decided for Mocha Chai, and so basically Mocha is the testing framework, whereas Chai is the assertion library. So you can run some assertions on your code, and so let's see if we can just, you know, very basic setup. This will fail, of course, but this is perfectly normal, right? We want to go through certain things before we can actually start using this. So the only thing I did was to install Mocha, and I added a very simple script that will allow me to use yarn test like this, and it should fail. But this is not a bad error message, because it says error, no test files found in a folder in test, or in perhaps not a folder, but rather with an extension. So that's not a bad thing. We know that it has been installed, and so let's say that we don't want to have it in a folder that is called test, because I'm an old guy, and as I already mentioned, old habits die hard. So I want to run it in a folder that is called spec. Specs stands for specifications. So now if I run this, it should say no test file found in specs. So I know by doing this that this actually works. Okay, now there are two flags that I can pass into this. One is called recursive, and one is called exit. And that will also look into subfolders of specs if I have any tests in sub folders, basically. And so it's just a habit. And again, we can just run this again, and we get the same error. It's perfectly fine. what we're gonna do is to actually create a folder, and we're just gonna say specs, of course, and in that specs I'm gonna set up a very basic test file that I will call foo. Okay, foo, and then I say dot spec.js. That's my way of doing things. Some people say, the name of the test file .test.js. Some people are using some other extensions, but basically what I try to do is that if I have let's say I have a source file, and I have a file here that is called foo.js, right? Then the name of my test includes the name of the file that I will be testing, or the module I will be testing, and then I just add .spec.js, if that makes sense, people. I hope it does. All right, so let's say we do something like const foo equals a function, and that function const foo, and that function just return bar, right? And then we just do module exports, and we say where is it, equals, and then we just say foo, right? Yeah, module exports foo. So we have a foo bar thingy, which is whatever. So so here I just want to first of all require that file. So so yeah, I have to require foo, of course, because the test file needs to know about what is tested, for what sort of code it's supposed to test. So I'm going to say const foo equals require foo, not require foo, sorry, dot and then src and then foo. Right, there we go. And then the way I do things is that I would say const we need to say chai. Well, actually we can say expect. No shit, Thomas, come on. You can do expect, you can do destruct, expect, and then we say equals require chai. I think that's gonna work. So we just want to import one part of the module that is being exported by chai, the chai library, and that's the expect library, the expect keyword or command. And then I want to say const. No, I know I don't need to do that. I can just say describe foo, like the foo function. I just want to do, well, I can do this, right? Just describe foo. So with describe keyword, you just say what you want to what you will be testing, and it will be shown on the output later. And then you just go well, you can say, you have to create an it block. The it block is the test itself, and then you can say is expected to return foo, no, bar, right? It's expected to return bar. So you can say expect. I think you can expect just foo, if I'm not totally out of the blue, to equal bar, right? expect foo to equal bar. So you right, you execute the command here, and it should equal bar. And if I'm not like totally fucking things up, this might actually pass for us now. The moment of truth. The moment of truth. Yawn test. Let's see. Let's see. Yay! It did pass. Okay. Let's see if we can break it. So expect foo to equal baz. It will not pass. Please not pass. Yay. Okay. So that's how you write a very simple Mocha test using chai expect keyword. That's nice. That's nice. That's the basic setup. If you do very simple local, very simple unit testing, this is definitely the case. But let's say that if you want to run this function, why am I using 4 spaces? Because I switched computers recently, so I haven't set up my thing too properly yet. But right. Right. Let's say that we want to test something that is actually not used in just Node, but rather in the browser. And this would render an error if you want to use this in a browser. So just as a like a tip, if you could actually condition this export. You don't have to export this if you don't want to. Right, so you could do like I think you can say something like if window something like what can you do? Let's say test if window module, is that's how you do that? If window module is not no, if module is not undefined, I think that's what you do. Then you actually export this. If window, there you go. If window module, let me just check that actually if this is even correct or not. Do we have a browser? So let's see the global window object module. It is undefined, right? If window module is undefined, right? So I think this could actually mean that this will not export this. This will know whether we are in a browser or not. At least I think so. Let's test this now. No, this didn't fly out. Window is not defined. Right, I'm gonna have to get back to you on this one. I'm a bit unsure on this one actually. Why am I not sure about this? I've done this before, and I don't know. Is it because it's more early in the morning, or am I just getting? I don't remember things so clearly. I don't know. But there is a way for us to check things. Check whether we're in a browser. I've done this before. Right. Okay. But who cares about foobar, right? It's not really super relevant. I recently no, we can do more a little more advanced stuff, perhaps not that super advanced, But for instance, sometimes you want to work with fake objects, right? So let's say that our foo class or foo function is not just a regular function like this, but rather actually, you know what? I can do a git commit here. Git status. Oh, sorry. Git status. Right. Okay, I am in the wrong place, so I need to go over here and do git status here. Right. So cat or echo let's do echo implementation node modules into the Git Ignore on this one. Right, so now I don't follow I don't track the Git Ignore stuff in my thing. So let's see, git add everything, git commit am adds foo function and spec with spec and spec, right. Git push origin master, right. But let's say that, so we have that in our history, that's okay. Let's say that we create something different here. Let's say that we create a class of foo rather than just a thing, right? So like if we say class foo, I'm gonna call it foo like this, and we just want to export this like this, right? So I usually name my classes with something we call Pascal case, right? So if Pascal case means that it starts with a with a capital letter, and any new words, if this class would be called foobar, would look something like this. This is Pascal case, and something we refer to as camel case would look like this, foobar, which is often used to name variables and functions in JavaScript. That's the standard. But in this case, we want to say foo. That's our module name. Right. So we can do, and we can set a constructor, like assign some basic values to it. So we can just say constructor this is one way of doing this, and we say, for instance, this bar will be set to baz, for instance, right? That's one way of writing the constructor in a class in JavaScript. Okay, so can we test this, see if it actually is baz? So here I would have to change a few things. First of all, I want to include it like this, and then I would actually create something referred to as a subject, like the subject of the subject of the test. And in many testing frameworks, that is being created for you, automatically. But here it is not. So, but what I can do, I can say const subject, and it will be a new foo, right? Because now it has a constructor, so I need to do that. And here in the expect, I would say subject bar, right? Because it's a property, and that should equal baz now, right? Is that what we said? I already forgot. Yeah, baz. Right. So here we do a different setup. But in the why am I showing you this? Yes, because this subject is, in my opinion, important. That we kind of, at least for me, I stick to this, that the main object that I'm testing is actually, it's always called the subject in my test file, and then I call methods on it, and then I run assertions on that specific things, on the properties that shows up. Right, so let's see if we can run this. I can do this actually like this, and sorry, I can clear, and let's run the test, yarn test, and that is passing. It expected to return bar, and since it is passing, I want to break it. So let's just say that it's foo again, and we want to clear this, and this should fail now, right? And so Mocha is kind of kind to us, and I really like this. I think Jest is that too. When you work with Jest, that's perfectly fine. Now, when your test fails, you get pretty good output, like a pretty good error message. And here, if you just take your time and read through the error messages, which is something that is an acquired skill, sometimes you just go, oh, red, fuck it, I don't want to, I just want, nothing is working, I'm a bad developer, and you go into this imposter syndrome panic attack. No, I'm kidding. Read error messages. It states here, it expected, in green, it expected foo, and the actual outcome is baz, in this case. Good stuff. Then oh, I'm not getting foo, I'm getting baz. Why am I getting baz? Well, then you go into your implementation code and you go like, oh, it says here baz. So, and in my test, I'm looking for foo. Why? So you either change it in the test, if that's what if foo is actually what you really want to get, or you change that in implementation. And I know I'm talking to you guys like you were kids, but of course you're not. But I'm just, I'm just saying. I want to be overly clear to, I guess, myself or you, or if this makes sense, just let me know. If it doesn't, also let me know. Anyway, we want to see get baz here, and that's it. And we're gonna run this baby. Right on, and run this thing. But you don't want to do foobar and foobaz and stuff like that, right? You sometimes need to interact with other objects, right? Or classes or functions they're dependent on certain data being passed into them. Definition of a function, right, in my opinion, is like, it's a piece of code that takes a few arguments, or takes some data or no data, and returns something, right? So that's important. Dream Traveling, good morning to you, and thank you for the follow. Nice to see you with us. We're doing a little bit of testing in JavaScript, and I just wrote a very simple I just did a very simple Mocha Chai setup, and just to recap this, mainly for myself, the only thing I did was to include Mocha and Chai, set up a very simple script to run Mocha in the specs folder recursively and exit, which means that just quit everything once you're done. And it couldn't get any simpler than this, in my opinion, so that's okay. And then I have some implementation code, in this case called foo, and I only have one class here that is called foo, right? And I have a spec that checks whether the property bar of this is actually returning baz. Good morning, my sunshine. God morgon. Hur är läget? Okej. Nej, jag sitter och kollar. Oh, here's my son. Here's my son. No. There he is. Ouch. Ouch. Sorry. Hey, dog. Right. Oh, thank you, Dream Traveling. Thank you very much for the kind words. I'm doing my best. Neither do I. I probably need to follow you as well. Yeah. So my son, he's 7 years old, and he's into chess nowadays. So we play chess online on chess.com. And yesterday he just blew my mind because we started to play, and he goes, Daddy, I'm gonna do a London opening. And I was like, wow. And then he goes like, perhaps he's gonna counter with a Sicilian defense. And I was like blown away. 7 years old. I'm really happy. Right. So let's see if we can take a look at this class. Now I'm gonna delete the comments. I don't need them for now. I was just playing around with some other stuff. But just so we understand this constructor that I set out here, I will follow you back as well, Dream Traveling. But I think we can simplify this, we don't need to say this and I don't know if that change was imposed in like ES7 or 8 or 6 or whatever, but you can change that by let's see. I think I can just say, can I say this? Bar equals baz. Oh, but come on. Baz. I think I can. Well, let's see. Yarn test. Right. Exactly. So if you want to assign values to your properties, like you did in the constructor, this is the equivalent of the same thing, like this, which is good because it simplifies your code a little bit in a class definition in JavaScript. So always when I talk to, see, I work as a coach, so I do a little bit of teaching or more than that perhaps. And so when I show the classes in JavaScript, I always show my students this syntax with a constructor spelled out. But then I just tell them after that you can forget about this. You don't need this. You can just set those things like that. But let's see if we can pass in some values here, right? So if we comment out this, and we open up the constructor again, and we will say, just say value here, it will be a local variable, and I set the bar to this, right? The bar property to value, right? So in my test, if I run my test now, that would fail because it is no longer gonna be a bar. So I got an error saying that expected undefined to equal bar. So that's not gonna fly, right? Okay. So in my spec, what I need to do now is to say, first of all, it needs to be bar, right? So I need to pass in a value here. Like I'm gonna pass in a string in the constructor into this new foo. And let's see if this works. And it does now, right? So you can pass in arguments to your new object, and then the subject will have a property of bar. Well, we probably want to change this to baz actually, because you don't want to. I don't know. Let's see if this works. Yes, it did. Now, the question now is, will this work without the constructor taking an argument? Let's try that. So we're gonna remove this, and and open this, and now the question is, what should I call this, right? I can't really do anything with that because I don't know the name of the of the the local variable. So this won't work, right? So if I just say value here, this will be just render an error for me, right? Because he simply doesn't, you know, value is not defined, right? So how can we do that? And I don't know really. You simply probably can't use this simplified syntax if you want to add dynamic values or to your properties. So we're just gonna go back to the constructor like this, pretty much. Not sure if that makes sense, or if anybody is better on JavaScript than me, then you know, you can tell me if this can be actually achieved in a different way. Perhaps, just to run an experiment, we could let's see, add something, but I don't know. This shouldn't work. Like if we do this, no, you see I'm getting an error, so this won't work at all. This just won't work at all. No, I was thinking that perhaps you can pass this in, but no. So we need to use this constructor, or I can do a little bit of research perhaps and see if we can get that done in another way, but not now. Let's see if we can do something else, because in many testing frameworks you can set up mocks and spies on things, right? So let's say that we want to create another one that is no, let's see. We can create another function. Let's get rid of this. No, let's keep this for future references. Let's say that I add a function that we call, say hello. I don't know. Let's say or greet me. Greet me is a function, right? And so I can just say return hello Thomas, for instance, right? So I could write a spec for this, and I can say it is expected to respond to greet me. Right? Okay, so we can write a test for that, and the if you're not sure what sort of matchers you can use in Mocha and Chai, then there is of course a good reference for that, right? So we can do I think we can do expect subject to respond to, and then as a string, I think you say greet me. I think that's what you want to do. And another tip and trick is that if you have multiple it blocks, you don't want to run all of them. You can do two things in this case, because we only have two. You can set an X in front of the first one and not the other, and then now Mocha will only execute this particular one. So if we clear this up and we run test, we can see that the first one is not being executed and the other one is actually going green for us, right? So you can test if your subject is actually responding to specific functions, right? So that's a nice one. And then we can check for another thing. I can just copy this one, and I will say expect subject greet me like this to equal hello Thomas, right? Like this. And so if we run this now, we should go green as well, right? Well, it's expected to respond with hello Thomas, sorry, like this. That's much better. And you see those messages that you write on the it blocks are pretty important in my opinion, because they are showing on the output here, right? And they kind of tell you what you are doing and what you're testing, what the response should be, and so on, right? Now, you see we have this describe block up here, and I would say that it's good to have nested describe blocks to kind of group your tests, even on this unit test level, depending on what part of the object you're testing. So for instance, here we're testing the greet me function. So what I would probably do, and this is of course nonsense because it's like a nonsense class, and you know, this code doesn't do anything, but I just want to show you some concepts. So you do describe here, and you just say that you're describing the greet me, and then you just take these guys and you move them inside of the describe, to be bound to subject, and it's expected to respond with hello Thomas, right? So now when we run the test, we get a slightly different output, right? So we say foo and then greet me. I would probably change that to dot greet me because it's a function like this, and now, right, so it kind of, it's more descriptive of what exactly we're doing and what we're testing and so on. So I hope it makes sense. Right, but let's say that let me introduce you to another concept that is kind of interesting in my opinion. Now, I don't know if anything of this is interesting to you guys, but it's interesting for me. I will do the following now. I will actually make a commit here. No, not here. I'm actually gonna use my CLI. So git status, right, do git commit am plays around with foo class and matchers, right, and I've been told that since I made affiliate people, Twitch is running a few commercials on my channel from time to time. I don't know if that is disturbing. I can actually be in control of that. So what I'm gonna do, once I push this up to GitHub, I'm gonna go and fill up my coffee, and there will be a 1-minute ad break so that I can continue uninterrupted, if that's even possible. But stay with me, guys. Don't switch channels. I love to have you around. I'm gonna run this now, and I will be back with fresh coffee. I'm using my V for Vendetta mug today. Very happy about that. Anyway, see you soon. No, I cannot. I cannot run an ad break because it says I can do it in 5 minutes, but I don't have 5 minutes. I need my coffee now. So I'll see you soon, guys. Now we're gonna have to watch my screen and chat to each other. I'll see you soon. All right, folks, I'm back. Now, for those of you who are tuning in, you might think that this is like a bit trivial and unnecessary and you know and stuff like that to test these kind of things, like you know foo bar, small functions here and there. But if you are new to testing, I would, you know, when I sat down today to stream this, I was like, I want to do the simplest setup ever, because when I started out in test-driven development, I came from the Ruby on Rails domain, and testing is really, you know, it's integrated part of this of the community. We practice, you know, a lot of agile methodologies and XP with, you know, where automated testing both on the unit level but also on a feature acceptance end-to-end testing level is very much present, and everybody practice, not everybody, but a lot of people practice that and so on. When I moved into JavaScript, back then Jasmine and Karma were the biggest names in town, and there was like massive amount of configuration and you know, you had to tweak everything. It was really hard to set things up. Mainly also because I started from the wrong perspective. The first thing I wanted to do was to start testing web-based applications, like, you know, spin up a server, run it and interact with it and see, you know, basically end-to-end testing, right? And it's doable in Mocha and of course and so on. But I kind of started with trying to bite off a little too much, and that led to a lot of, you know, confusion, frustration, and all of that stuff. Then I started to use Protractor in Angular, and then I moved over to Puppeteer, which is a runner that kind of wraps the entire Google Chrome and Chromium, and you can do a lot of cool stuff. You can intercept network calls. You can do a lot of, you know, interesting things. And then Cypress came around, and Cypress is a really good testing tool for end-to-end testing. Now they're moving into unit testing as well, which I think is a bit of a mistake, but it doesn't really matter what I think about that. But you know, sometimes when I show people how to test, then you know, there's a lot of too much things, and so that's my goal for today was to do as a simple thing as possible, and I think I can, you know, I kind of demonstrate that it doesn't necessarily have to be that hard. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Then you know, that's like, if you want to learn how to test, I think you have to learn the basic and very simple stuff first, before you move on to the more complex stuff later. Battle Manley, Lucas, welcome and good morning to you, sir. Let's see if we can get you in here. Something wrong with my head. I'm actually gonna paste a link to Google Meet. So if anyone apart from Lucas is also welcome. No, I'm kidding. Lucas, welcome to the meet. You can join by audio, and if anybody else would like to join and say hi in audio, and not only be a chat friend of mine but also talk to me, you can definitely join this Google Meet. I let you in, and if you're rude, I will kick you out. And Battle, Lucas needs his coffee, and I totally understand that. We all need coffee. Right. Next concept, people. Let's say that this greet me function is using the bar attribute, right? Can we, yeah, I think, let's see. Can we do that? Yeah. let's say that we want to, instead of saying hello Thomas, we want to string interpolate here. I don't know if you know about string literals, but with those backticks and this setup, you can say right, you can say, you can use this attribute, right? So now if I run this, this will fail for me because it will no longer say hello Thomas, but rather hello Bar or Baz or whatever. Right, so it was expected to see hello Thomas, but now we're using hello Baz, for instance, right? Because that's how we construct that object in our test. So let's say that we change that, of course, and we say you know, foo Thomas, right? We just pass that in and set that as a property, and now when we run the test it will pass, right? That is not my point here, or not the bigger point, but at least we just want to see this pass. And before I move on, I'm just going to show you another trick. Let's say that we have multiple tests that we want to stop. Then we could in principle put X's on all of these, like this: exit this one will not be executed, neither will this one, and only this one will be used. And that's perfectly fine, right? We can deal with it this way. But we can also remove those exit. And by the way, if you look at it, it says exit, you know. So, you know, exit is fine. I don't know. I found it very, you know, nice. Anyway, we can skip those exits, and what we can do, we can say it and then say dot only. That's a neat little trick to scope down your runner to only run one test. And in this trivial example, this might not be very relevant for you at the first glance, but imagine that you have, you know, several hundreds of tests, then it actually is relevant. And you also get a slightly different output because this is the only test that is being run, and so you skip these other outputs and so on, right? So dot only is a good trick to use if you have a lot of tests running, and or, you know, a lot of tests in your test suite. So you probably want to use that one way or another. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Question to chat, just as a unscientific poll. How many of you have been exposed to testing in JavaScript? Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if this is something that you practice. I would love to know that. So how many of you have been exposed or used test-driven or testing in JavaScript? Thumbs up if you've done it. Thumbs down if this is your first exposure or one of the first exposures to testing. Indulge me on this one, chat. I would really, really appreciate that. Right. Natsak, nay. Okay. Let's see if we can move on. Now, we one thing that I would like to try to use is to set up something we refer to as a spy in testing, and that is now that we are using the bar property in this greet me function of this class, one thing that could prove useful in testing is to say, are we actually hitting this bar property? Are we using this one? So we could in our test environment set up a spy to know or to acknowledge that yes, this has been called, but I'm not sure that we can do that on a property actually, but we're going to try anyway. And for that we need another library that is called Sign-On. And Sign-On is quite a powerful library. It's called Sign-On.js, and that gives you a functionality like setting up spies, which is exactly what I will do now, but also stubs and mocks for JavaScript, which is also something that I will take a look at hopefully today, if we have the time. Right. So let's start with spies. Let's start by actually installing Sign-On, and that is done pretty easily. We just go on and say yarn install Sign-On. That's a pretty easy thing. Okay, Natsak, thank you for asking my poll. Now everybody else is ignoring me, but that's okay, guys. I totally understand. Anyway, yarn add Sign-On, and we add that as a dev dependency. We're going to pick the lowest hanging tree here. There are dialects or variants of Sign-On that are specially prepared for Chai. It might be that I need to use that, but let's start as simple as possible. Yeah, let's go with yarn add Sign-On to start with, and see if we can get by. Again, when I woke up, my main goal for today was to do this as simple as possible. So now we have Mocha, Chai, and Sign-On installed, and we can see that on our package JSON. Yeah, why am I saying this? Oh, because I'm in here. Okay. Right. So we have Chai, Mocha, Sign-On. Okay. So in my test, I would need to tell my setup that I want to use Sign-On. I want to use Sign-On. Right. So okay. So const Sign-On equals require Sign-On, like this. But now I need to change this a little bit, because now I need Chai to be directly accessible. So I'm going to change this to Chai, and then I will say Chai use Sign-On, like this. And I'm just gonna, somebody's knocking on my door, and that would be Lucas. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning.
Good morning. Chat, acknowledge that you can hear Lucas, please. And also
Let's hope so.
Berserker. Oh, is that like a burst? Oh, okay, that's a cool handle. Yeah, I think people have such a cool handles, and I'm just go with my first name, last name. What was I thinking? Natsak, thank you for acknowledging that, and thank you for the follow, Berserker. I don't know if you've been around. We're testing in JavaScript. Well, that was a neutral cup. I try to express myself with my coffee cups, So I have my V for Vendetta. Yeah.
This is pretty damn white, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a very neutral.
Plain as cup.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if we should lower the music or not, but I probably need to enhance your output so people can hear you properly. Right.
Make it too screamy.
Right. I just got raided by a very I got raided with a lot of people. Man, I was blown away.
This morning?
Yeah. I develop things. I actually follow that streamer. He's doing, like, I don't know if he's still around, by the way, but he streams like extremely long sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What What kind of stuff?
He probably left. He probably left for bed. I can't see him in chat anymore. But he was very generous. He came in with 30 people, and he's doing a lot of development. Sometimes I watch his streams. I mean, like hours and hours and hours. Like, let me just check that. Let me see if I can pull him up here. Twitch. Like I think if I'm not totally mistaken, he was like doing. Yeah, here it is. He's offline now. But look, 12 hours. 9 hours. Yeah, 12 hours. 12
That's like a
9
full-time
hours.
job, but
Yeah, 12 hours.
That's like a full-time job, but
Yeah, 12 hours. Shit, I got a lot of echo here. Yeah, but that's weird, well, isn't it? Like, yeah, but that's cool. I mean, that's
dedicated.
That's dedication for you. Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's definitely dedication for you. I like that. Okay. Anyway, we are in sign-on territory. So now, so I don't have. So if I try to run this now, it will fail because it doesn't know what to do with expect because I removed that thing. So we're just gonna see that fail. Boom. It's not a function, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I was telling the chat that you get good error messages from Mocha and Chai. That is not exactly the case all the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like this one is really weird. Now, to be honest, I don't even know where this comes from. Is it because I'm using sign-on, or is it because I don't have expect at the moment, right? And this doesn't really tell me much, in my opinion. So.
Oh wait, no.
What?
I just got an ad break. Can't see.
Oh, you got an ad break. Yeah. Okay. I was trying to run this thing. We're just gonna say we'll be right back after the break. I feel like pundit on CNN. We'll be right back after these messages. You know. We'll be right back after these messages.
How long are those breaks? I mean,
they're 1 minute, I think. So what I tried, I was out getting a coffee, and I was like, let me run a break now when I get the coffee, right? But then it was 5 minutes left before I could run a break.
Oh.
So you can only run those. So it was like, it's like Luke told us. You can either run them manually, or Twitch will run them for us, basically, right? So I need to. Where's my? For some reason I don't have. Let me know when the break is over, okay?
Well, it's over. Mine is over.
Oh, it is over now. Okay, so perhaps not everybody got to see that. Chat, tell me, was there a break or was there not a break? I would like to know. Anyway, we need to say. I had one a bit. Okay, so it's different for different viewers, I guess. It's which is weird. I would love to be more in control of that actually, because it feels like, especially when you do programming, 1 minute could be a fairly long time sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm chat. I'm learning this. I'm new at Twitch. Late starter. Late starter.
Nevertheless, here. That's good.
Amen. Anyway, now we need to say const expect equals chai expect. We need that, right? Because otherwise we don't have access to this. And at this point things start to get a little more complicated. Not overly complicated, but a little more complicated. Okay, so now we know that error originated from this thing, right? So sanity check, comment it out. I'm not using it yet. This is config only. Let's run this again. Now that we commented out that code, and now it works, right? So this is the problem. The sign-on library is a problem. So I think that we are at least introducing our viewers to the fuck upness of JavaScript testing. We had a very smooth sailing up until now, and my experience at least tells me that the moment you start to do more complex things, it becomes much harder. But that goes for everything in life, in my opinion. To be honest, more or less, complexity is a killer. It doesn't really matter what you do in life. As soon as you start to do more complex stuff, you just boom get hit by a fucking hammer in your head.
Definitely. And then it's about your own motivation to kind of keep it going. And then I guess many people maybe don't feel like testing is given such a big boost of motivation. Maybe.
Exactly. So that's also again my take on all of this is keep it as simple as possible to get people into things. There is a solution to this, and that is, or I hope this is a solution, and that is to install another package that is called Sign on Chai, which I was considering installing in the first place together with Sign on, but I ruled against it because I actually wanted to get into a bit of trouble. So whoever is watching this workshop can actually, or this session will understand why things are doing, because sometimes when you get instructions you just go like, oh, install like 10 15 packages, do this and that, and boom, everything will work. And you do it, you follow those instructions, and in best case everything does work, and then you just don't know how it works. You just follow instructions, right? Or even worse, things break, they don't work on your setup, on your local host, because the guy that wrote this or the girl that wrote this had another setup, and shit starts fall apart, and then you go like, I have no effing clue how to fix this, right? So one step at a time. So would you yarn add as a dev dependency, and we're gonna do sign on dash chai, and so we install that. We go to this one. We do not import sign on, but we import sign on chai from this sign on chai library, and then we just say we want to use sign on chai, and that hopefully works. If it doesn't, then we're gonna debug this one way or another, because we will make it work. That's for sure. Let's clear this up, let's run the test, and now it is working, right? So sign on in itself cannot be used, sign on chai needs to be used, but with the risk of losing every viewer here, I want to run another experiment, and that is this. Like, if you look at my package JSON, I already had sign on installed and then sign on chai, right? And I'm using sign on chai. So the question that I'm asking myself, do I even need this library? Do you understand? Or am I okay with just installing this? And I don't know the answer to this question.
Right.
But I can figure it out, because I can remove this.
Trial and error.
Right. I can remove this. I can remove my node modules. rn node modules. And I can, what do you mean? Illegal options. What's wrong with me?
Or F.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's RF, right? Recursive and force, right? Shit. It's early in the morning, so. But it's not that early anymore, but it was early when I woke up. And now I just gonna do yarn install again, and so now I have an installation without sign on, only sign on chai, right? And so let's see if we can run our tests again, and if we get some sort of an error, and we don't. Okay, so that tells us that at least at this stage we do not use we don't have to install the sign-on library directly. if we use it together with Chai, probably Chai sign on Chai installs it as a dependency. We can probably check that here. We can check that here. Let's see, sign on. So sign on Chai is using this, and no, we don't know anything about that. We're probably gonna have to do. Gonna have to go to npm.js, npm.js.org, check out sign on Chai, and then as a dependency, you can see the dependencies here. It says 0 dependencies.
It's its own thing.
Right. I think that we actually gonna end up in trouble once we start to use it. Do you understand? This could be a wrapper around sign-on. Anyway,
we'll have to see.
We'll wait and see. Right, exactly.
I was wondering, could you share your screen on the Meet?
Oh yeah, unless
you mind.
It fucks up everything we do. I can try to do that. Sure. I'm here, right. Let me just check my internal memory. We're down to 300 megabytes, so we need to clear up some stuff. Okay. Now we configure this, and I know that I'm making very slow progress, but bear with me, folks, if you can. I was hoping, before I actually do this now, I was hoping that I could, you know, I told you several times that I changed computers recently, right? And for some damn reason, I don't have Slack in my dock, you know, so like if I never use it. So I just wanted to Slack out something. Right. So we're just gonna do channel. Is that a general channel? No, that's not. That's with you. I don't want to channel you. I'm just gonna go to general. I know I'm doing things off camera. I'm sorry about that. Online now. Now on stream on Twitch. Doing testing in JavaScript. Right.
What's the game plan for today?
The game plan was to work on our documentation, but I started to do this because you weren't around. You were asleep. It's your fault.
I was trying so hard.
I'm kidding. I'm just fucking around. Right. Discord. Right. Okay. Let's see if we can now, in this spec, actually use this library for anything. I've been fucking around in setting it up for way too long. So what we want to do is to set up something we call a spy. And how do we do that? How do we set up a spy? We need to, first of all, create a test for this. So we're going to say it is expected to invoke bar, right, or baz, bar, right. So we're just going to say bar. So what we want to test here, Lucas, is this, that if you look at my foo class, when we say greet me, we are saying hello, but we're also invoking this property, this function. Do you understand? And I just want to write an assertion that we are actually doing that. And there are two things. Ouch. I'm not 100% sure and if I can set that up or not, but or if this needs to be a function in itself. And also I'm not that good at sign-on, but I've done this a few times before. So let's see if we can figure this one out by using the documentation, right? So we go to signonjs.org, nice, and we go to spies. And what is a test spy? Is a function that records arguments, return value, and value of this, an exception thrown for all its calls, right? So we can take a look at this. So sign on requires sign on, and then using a spy to wrap all object method. Right. So we are creating a sandbox. I don't want to create a sandbox right now. There is a reason for the sandboxing, but I don't want to go into that at the moment. Right, so we say yes, so it will be sign on spy on foo and then the method. Right, that's what I want to do. Now it's coming back to me. So here I think I say const bar. We're just going to call it bar spy because we're spying on bar, right? Equals sign on chai spy, yes, of course, spy on foo. I wonder if this is the foo, and then we're gonna spy on bar. I am not at all convinced that this is the right syntax, but we will figure this one out. And so this here we could say expect spy bar. No, yeah, spy. That sounds like a nightclub in Stockholm, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. That's cool.
It's pretty funny.
Spy bar.
Now you're writing. It's bar spy.
Bar spy. Shit. Jesus Christ. Now I did. Oh fuck. You got me off my game there, man. Right. And then we just say to have been called. Have been called? Why am I I'm not getting that. Expect spy bar have been called, but when? Well, when we do subject greet me. Right, when I invoke this method, then the bar spy should have been called. That's the thing that I want to run. Jim from Canada, thank you for the follow. Jim from Canada, thank you for the follow. Let's see if we can get this thing off the ground or not. Where am I? Here I am. There I am. Right. The moment of not truth. This will fail, probably. I will be very surprised. Right. Sign on chai spy is not a function. It is not. It is not a function. So the question is now,
shouldn't it be spying on the actual function? Can it spy on a variable?
No,
like that?
we need this. This is not the way you do it. We need to install. We need to say yarn. It's not that. It's just saying that you can't use it like this. So we need to add sign on again. And then we need to require it here, definitely. So we're just gonna say require const sign on equals require this is definitely needed. It's
Oh,
no
you can.
wrong.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with running experiments, but just what it is. So here this is so we
Right.
need this sign-on library, but what this does when we say chai use sign-on, that actually just tells our Mocha so Mocha is using chai assertions, and we're expanding chai assertions with sign-on assertions, right? Because sign-on chai comes with more matchers, basically. And now again, I'm really trying to keep this as simple as possible, but I have to explain it for myself. Uh, but complexity kills people and developers and projects and everything else. Let's see. Let's run this now. Attempted to wrap undefined property bar as function. So we get a different error message now, right? And this is probably related to that I'm spying on the wrong thing. So I probably want to spy on the subject. You understand? And not the full class, right? So let's see if that does anything for us. And then there's another thing that I should probably do it in a before block, but we'll get to that. Property as well to wraps. Yeah, exactly, because this is not a function. Do you understand? It's just a property, right? Right, right. So that's why we can't spy on properties. That's simply not possible. So I can fix that just as a proof of concept. So we can just do, we can define one that is called get name, and that would be just return this bar, and then here I will just say this get name. Now this is a function, right? That it only returns that property, but now I can probably spy on this, But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
Makes more sense.
Right. And now we get an invalid chai property have been called. Okay, that's a much better error message. That's just me,
So it's a different matcher.
Yeah. To have, and we're going to try this, to have been called like this. And then once that doesn't, if this doesn't work, I will actually do the most sensible thing, which is check the documentation for these matchers, instead of just randomly writing shit, right? Could be a good strategy there, Thomas, to actually read the documentation.
But here it says just .called, and it says true if spy was called at least once.
Where does it say that?
I think further down in that same document.
Yeah. Let's read stuff, right? Have to have been, no? Where did you see that?
Kind of halfway down. I think after this.
Called with.
You just .called, which is.
Yeah, but they're using the assert. They don't use the expect keyword here. Do you understand? Must get call or spy with args.
Not the same.
Object property types. Oh Jesus, what am I? You know what? I'm gonna do this instead. Sign on chai. Should have been called. Called with. Called should be okay.
Shit, I've been called.
Should to be called. To be called. To be called. To have been. This should work. Have been called. Should work. Why? To have. Yeah, to have been called. So I just do this.
Well, node 2, so should instead. Is that what they want?
Yeah, but that's a different notation, you know, and we're using.
Okay.
So expect property. Chat set examples. Do they show anything with expect here? Using expect. Here we go. Expect to have been called.
Yeah, okay. That's weird.
Right. Use sign on. This is exactly the setup we have. You see, sign on and sign on Chai, and we use this, right? This is exactly the setup we have. Oh, how fun! Okay, well, the things that makes you happy, right? But I am apparently doing something heavily wrong here. So let's move this spy down to the it block, right? Sign on spy subject get name. Is expected to have been called is not a function, right? So yeah,
right. So it's scope.
but now I did two things actually, you know. Let's just move this out again. I hate when I do that because you see I did two changes and I don't know which one actually fixed this. So let's run this again. Now it breaks. Yes, you can't. So we need to move this down before here, right? Because now it complained that I was using subject before I initialized it. So let's run this again. And now it's passing. Yeah, so I could do it here, up here.
Wait, what was the other thing you did?
The other thing was this, that I was for some fucking reason doing this.
Okay.
And that's not gonna fly. Right, because it's not a function. This is
okay.
Yeah. This matcher doesn't take any arguments, right?
Right.
Okay. So now we can assert that this one works. Okay, so now that we know this, let's see if we can spy on bar. But this, you know, again, we should get this error message that this is a primitive, a string. You can't spy on that, you know. And that's exactly, yeah, attempted to wrap string property bar as function, you know, so you can't spy on a string per se.
Right. But it's more like we have to make an assertion about that it's using something, this function.
Yeah, well, yes. So, but in this case, this greet me is just a wrapper around this. No, sorry, the get name is just a wrapper to return this bar, right? So it could be, you know, interesting, but it's just an example anyway. Because, you know, it's all of this is pure nonsense, to be honest. You know.
Yeah.
Right. Let's commit this because I'm saving this because I want to write a guide about this later. You know, setting it up and so on. So.
No, definitely good. I need to learn more about JavaScript unit testing as well.
Yeah. As we all do, I guess. As we all do. Right. So git commit adds specs for adds spy for get name function. Right. So now we know that we can set up like an observer. We could almost call it an observer in our test environment to basically, you know, observe or spy on a specific function, and whenever this function is being invoked, we can assert that. Yeah, sure. And in this was called upon, in your whenever you use this this function. So when we could probably call this get. Oh, sorry. We can probably use this called get name spy. It's because it should probably reflect the name of the function that we are spying upon.
Sure.
So that's good. That's good. And I'm using this in its simplest form, but apparently you can call this, like we could say something like we can change that a little bit. Like let's say that we will not base this on bar, but rather return value. So I'm going to say get name hello Lucas, right? And so we're just gonna, or we're actually gonna call this name rather than anything, right? Name, right? So now I can run my spec, of course, and that should still pass. Because it is invoking it, but now I can write a more specific matcher,
Right.
and I can say to have been called with, and then I just say Lucas, right? And hopefully this will pass. Yeah, and if I say Thomas here, it will fail, right? You always want to break your test, because otherwise it gives you a false positive. Right. And now it fails. Assertion expected get name to have been called with Thomas, but it was Lucas, right? So so that's a good one. And we can also, I think, say something like it has been called with, where's the list? Yeah, we can say called once, called twice, called, you know.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we can say called once with, right? For instance, we just want to call this one time. So this should pass as well. Right.
If you do greet me 2 times, it's gonna. Or is that not?
Can I change that? Let's see that. I don't think I can change them like this. No, this is not a function, but I can call it twice, like you said. So, but I don't think that will actually do anything for us. But I'm not sure. No, it's exactly no, it did that. So it counts the amount of calls, right? So if I just do this, then it should pass, right? Because now it doesn't count the calls, right? So that's, and then we can say exactly with return through always. Oh, this is this is interesting because you can do something, or let's see, always to. So let's remove this one for now. To have been called with, and we can say and returned. Should have been called. We can say this. We should have been called. Can we do that? And then I don't know if I can change this and return Lucas. Can we say that? Let's try that. I love running experiments. Not sure if the audience, if our viewers agree, but I think that this is fun. To have been called is not a function. To have been called.
Did you make it a function again?
Yeah, called once. let's see, can we do this? I would love to be able to chain these things, you know?
But you have to make it into like parentheses.
Can I just do this? You mean like this?
I don't know, but yeah.
Let's try that. Yay, okay.
Cool.
That's nice. Right. So we could say called with Lucas and return Lucas, right? So that's a bit so because that's exactly what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
We're just returning the same thing, right?
Usually you don't just return the
No,
argument.
exactly. Usually you do stuff, but
It's
in principle, you could write an assertion like this.
Exactly.
Right, and of course, for readability, I would do this. You can do these kind of things. It's better. Right. Good stuff. It's a little bit over 10 o'clock, which means that I need to wake up my family and do some stuff with them. We didn't get much done, unfortunately, but I wanted to. So we need to probably get back to this later today. Or I will be around tomorrow. But before I wrap up, did you have the chance to work on that 3D, 2D to 3D stuff? We got into the errors with step 2. Did you got stuck on uploading, right? Because you didn't get the right permissions.
Exactly.
Okay, so that will be our objective on that project. I played around with Amazon Web Services a bit, so just to keep chat in the loop, we're working on a React application that will tap into Amazon Web Services and a service that is called S3, which is basically a storage service, and we want to do a direct upload from our client to that bucket. They are called buckets, like those
Like a
containers,
folder.
right?
Yeah.
Not sure why they chose bucket for it, but but yeah. Anyway, and we are running into course issues, and it struck me, to be honest, that I've never done a direct upload from a front end application to Amazon Web Services. The way I've always done it is to invoke my own API, like take this base 64 encoded image, send it off to my own API, and then upload it to
Right.
AWS. And I really don't know why that never came up as a use case, but it hasn't. And so I went into the console on Amazon and I tried to modify policies. But man, I will show you this in the next stream. There are so many attributes and tweaks and policies and all of that shit. My head just exploded yesterday, and I tried. That's what I sent you. The ping that you should try to upload again, but it didn't fly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing on the to-do list to tweak this, and I think that, to be honest, I looked at the documentation on the ATM thing that we were working on, that workshop. It's really not that many things left for us to do there, so we will get through that.
Yeah.
So if you are around, unless you're still in quarantine, I guess. So if you're around later this afternoon, we're gonna do another one. But I need to spend some time with my family.
Yeah, definitely.
This morning.
I have a family thing as well, but this evening, I
Sure.
think I'm back on.
Good stuff. I'll ping you. And chat, thank you very much for hanging out with us. They played a mind trick on me. You should have known. I was setting up GitHub CLI tool, and I had to authenticate with GitHub, and on that interface the password is just dots, but then somebody writes like, oh, we can see your password, and I fucking panicked. I thought they could see my password. Yeah, but they were just fucking around with me. So that was fun. That was really fun. They gave me a fucking heart attack. because you never know. I've done worse shit than that. I recently just for your information, Chad, I was telling the guys about how careful you need to be not to push up your AWS credentials to an open source repository, and then in that very session I did just that. Okay. So
You just proven a point, right?
I'm proving a point. Yeah, exactly. You know, no, but I
That's
felt so stupid. But anyway, they didn't get to see my password. Absolutely not. Let's just now that you guys are here, let's take a look who's on Twitch. Um, in science and technology, I think that it's important that we help each other out. So let's take a look at who's online. Um, study, coding. Anybody I know? Not many people are coding at the moment. Nintendo Switch is not really interesting. Study marathon continues. Well, I don't know any of these people, so I won't be rating anyone today because nobody that I follow and nobody I know is online. But there are 1,900 viewers of this science and technology category. If you know anybody that would be interested in this category, there are many good streamers out there. Go on and follow them. Uh, you know, coding, technology, STEM altogether, is interesting. And the more people are involved in this, the better. But it does it for me now. A small intro to testing. I hope you enjoyed it. I see you later tonight. The code is available on my GitHub repository. You can actually do GitHub like this, so you can check my GitHub and you can get that code should you want to run this yourself. Anyway, stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy, people. Talk to you.
Talk to you later.